Hey guys, what's up? This is episode 7 of the Hidden Hours podcast, and today I've got someone super special with me. I've looked up to him for a long time. He's been my mentor for a long time, on and off the court. This is Jonathon Maybank. How you been, man? How's the lockdown for you?
Man, good man. It's crazy down here at the moment. I mean, I even had to kind of sneak in the studio a little bit. We're not really supposed to be here, but I'm by myself, so it's all good. It's not like we congregating. But I'm down south. It's a little bit slower down here. Of course, like I'm on the East Coast, but like New York is like mayhem right now. But here in South Carolina, it's not too bad. Like probably it's really they really just started like cracking down maybe about 3 days ago. You know what I mean? So like they really kind of tightening up and being a little bit more aggressive with the rules, but it's all good, man. You know what I mean? Like just trying to stay healthy. Every time I go to the supermarkets, I put my mask on and shit. I feel like I'm back in Beijing from time to time, but it's all good. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, right off the bat, man, this John's like been putting in crazy hidden hours, and he's sneaking in the gyms during lockdown just to get a workout in.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just an attitude putting in them hidden hours, man. And there's so much that we could talk about. But when John comes back to Australia, we're going to do an episode in the flesh, and I really want to dive deeper into everything that he's about and pick his brain. But today I'll give you guys a teaser. And did you want to start by telling everyone a little bit about what you do, what you stand for?
Um, well, Jonathon Maybank, you already said my name, but performance coach, more so directed towards in basketball. But of course, no matter if you play basketball, you play footy, you play soccer, even if you don't even play any sports, at the end of the day, we're all athletes. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the basis for me. Just making sure I can impact people with the amount of knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained over my entire career as being an athlete. And that's just not even in the physical realm. That's from a mental standpoint. I've had my ups and downs, my peaks and my valleys. From a physical standpoint, of course, getting your body as strong as you can, as tough as nails. But also from a spiritual standpoint as well, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you take a holistic approach, and training those three aspects, man, no matter what field you're in, whether it's sport or whether it's, carpentry or plumbing, no matter what it is, you're on a good path to become, the best that you can be. And whenever people kind of congregate around you, they come to you for advice because you've been through the wire, so just being as impactful as I can with my immediate circle. As you know, I'm not too big on and consistent on putting out video content, but that's definitely something that I want to get into, especially now with all of this shit going on. It's kind of like really forcing my hand to really be more adamant about just putting content out there on a regular basis, but it's definitely from my immediate circle and people that I always come across with, as yourself. I remember picking you up, from picking you to Darren, you know what I mean? But I just try to, I can't really say it's, I guess it is mentoring, but, we always try to be something that we kind of wish we had in our younger days,
Mm-hmm.
So I never had anybody to kind of like take me under their wing and be like, yo, this is what the fuck you need to do. You need to be getting out, doing this amount of, getting in the weight room 3 times a week. You need to be putting up 1,000 shots. You need to be working on your hand. You need to be watching game film. So I just try to be something that, especially from a basketball perspective, that I kind of wish I had in my younger days.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, man. Like, you've definitely spread a ton of knowledge and wisdom to a lot of athletes in your up until now, man. And talking about dropping wisdom, what do you look for when you're taking like a kid under your wing? Like, what are you looking for? Do they have to be talented? Do they have to, or are they just straight underdogs? What are you looking for?
um, I mean, I would say, the intangibles. Of course, it kind of varies
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to leave anybody out. But I think more so just being coachable, I think that's kind of like the basis for me, because whenever you coachable, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I can teach you how to shoot a jump shot. You know what I mean? Whenever you coachable, that means like, even if it's something to managing your money a little bit better. Or I had one young guy, you know, like he didn't really know how to like approach women, or you know what I mean, like or, you know females like that. And I'm like, yo, like, you just come off respectable. You don't have to be anything crazy. You know what I mean? So it's just like damn, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling.
Nah, that's
Go back
fine.
to go back to the question. What was the
Don't
question again?
expose him though. Don't expose him.
Nah. I'm not gonna name drop. But go ahead. So run the question again, so I can make sure I
Yeah.
stay on.
What are you looking for? What are you looking for when you
So
trying
what?
to take the kid under your wing, driving around? You know.
Right. So basically, I look for, like I said, just him just being a coachable guy, or her being a coachable girl. You know what I mean? Just really wanting to listen to what kind of information is out there, and applying it to their game, or to their life in general. But sometimes everybody comes from a different type of environment. So some guys may be a little bit more welcoming to your information, and some or girls. I don't want to be sexist. And then some guys are easier to bring taking that information, what you're telling them, and then some are a little bit more challenging because of the environment that they come from. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't like to waver from anybody, whether you're a really, really good athlete, you know what I mean, or you're not so good of an athlete. And you're just looking for somebody to kind of take you on, like, yo, like, this is what the fuck you need to do here. Monday morning, 5:00, get up, do this. Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, you know what I mean? He's just like, all right, he's just soaking it all up. And then there might be this guy who's already, you know what I mean, the talented guy who kind of like got everybody like already riding, like, yo, you nice, you this, you that, da 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 da. You know what I mean? And then if I come to him with some type of information, he may be like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I mean, I guess it just depends on who the message is coming from. You know, like, whenever people see a person and how they carry themselves, or what they've done in their past, it makes them a little bit more open. So I've never really had that problem personally. So no matter if he's crazy talented or he's not so talented, once they kind of see like what I've done with my career in my short span, and even still now that I'm active, you know what I mean, like, they see me kind of playing, or if I'm doing this in the gym, and they're like, damn, okay, so he must know what the fuck he really talking about. Let me listen. Let me kind of like have an ear. You know what I mean? And yeah, but so like, I don't kind of shy away from anybody, but anybody who just trying to get better, let's just leave it at that. Like, somebody who's really, really trying to get better, excuse my language, I don't know if you're going to beat these out, but
No, you
like,
can kiss.
Yeah, like, I tend to fuck with them a little bit more, because like, it makes my job so much more easier, honestly speaking. And then whenever you make my job easier, I can just dump information into you. Like, yo, this is what you need to do off the court. This is what you need to do on the court, whether it's breaking film down. Yo, look what you're doing right here. Boom, boom. All right, look what you did on this possession. Or if it's like, showing him film of a Steph Curry or Steve Nash or CJ McCollum, someone who's in their position, but at the highest level. Like, yo, look how he coming off the screen. Look how he doing this. Look how he doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, man, like I said, anybody who's just really open to taking information and they're trying to get better, that's who I fuck with the most, man. So yeah, I'm not biased with anybody. Just as long as you're trying to get better, and I feel like I can help you out, you know what I mean? That's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to let everyone know is, when you have someone that decides to help you out, like you did with me, it's not even, don't even focus on the stuff on the court, because I realized, like, I learned so much in between, like when we'd be in the car rides, eating lunch, eating. I remember you used to shout me Taco Bell, eating tacos. I've noticed a lot of the kids when I was training them. Obviously, these days it's a bit different, but with like smartphones and stuff in the car, you'll be trying to explain something to them, but they're on Snapchat, they're on this, they're on that. So I want to say, like, anyone that has someone that's decided to take you under their wing, focus on all that little stuff. Like them car rides, man, you can get really deep and pick the brain of that person that's helping you out. And talking about young athletes, man, what is one mistake or a few mistakes on the court, on the field, that you see happen too often that needs to be fixed?
With young athletes,
Oh, athletes, let's do that. Yeah,
all athletes.
yeah.
Uh, one, one mistake. Let's see. Like if I can go into my library of things here.
It's in the
I
cloud.
think.
You got to download it.
I think two things, or kind of like three things. It might be three things, but I'm just kind of like talk like just in a nutshell in the grand scheme of things. So like one, like having a late start as
Mm-hmm.
far as not developing. You know what I'm saying? Like having a late start. So especially nowadays, um, like I come from South Carolina, right? So South Carolina was never really a basketball state, and thank God for. I mean, I know that there's OGs. Like I don't want to leave anybody out. You got your Raymond Feltons, you got your Kevin Garnett's, you know what I mean? Like even from my era, like you know what I mean, your Herbert Lee Smith, you know what I mean? Even Philip Allen. I know these guys. You know what I mean? You wouldn't know who they are, but these are guys that grew up in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like even in their era, like all of this, all the way they developed, it was probably by themselves working on their craft by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Or they probably had somebody kind of showing them, but they never had we never had like skills academies and, you know what I mean, guys really strength coaches and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So coming from South Carolina, it was always a lot of athletes because the genetic pool is crazy here,
Yeah,
but not very skillful
yeah.
because we didn't have that resource to us. And then I see that a couple of other places as well too. But then you get to these bigger cities and they have all those resources, right? So, but from a grand scheme of things, I think one of the things the big mistake that I see with kids, like they don't start early enough as far as developing their skill and their body, right? Some kind of like wait a little bit later in their years, and then you kind of like behind the eight ball, and now you want to go to school or go hoop, and you're like, fuck, man, like I ain't really getting no looks, I ain't getting no, you know what I mean? Because you were pretty much not being scouted you know what I mean, in your younger days, or you know what I mean, you didn't get enough exposure in your younger days or whatever, whether it's ninth grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, which are pivotal years as far as you getting exposed. So I think, yeah, let's just stick on that. I just think developing at a younger age. And then also one thing to kind of piggyback off that is focusing on one sport, like at a young age. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like, man, I wasn't like I can honestly say I wasn't the most skillful guy in high school, but I always moved well and I was always naturally athletic. Why? Because many people don't know. I know everybody from my hometown knew, but like I was great at dancing. Like
Yeah.
I used to be in fucking circles and shit, and people used to be watching me. And one of my mans used to be dancing and shit like that. So naturally, being aware of my body and shit
Mm-hmm.
like that, and just doing all of these different movements, which are some of the movements that I still use on the court still to this day. I ran track and field. I always screamed to my athletes like, "Yo, run track!" Like by you sprinting, you get faster and you get more explosive, and you just learn how to use your body and your kinetic chain a whole lot better because you go through running mechanics and sprinting mechanics and jumping mechanics and shit like that. And as you know, doing different jump programs,
Yeah.
having good jump, you know what I'm saying? Good
Yeah.
jump mechanics will unleash a lot of your athleticism naturally without even lifting weights and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So being in like multiple sports and then probably focusing on it like whenever you really get in like high school, like okay, I want to play basketball, or okay, I want to focus on track and field, or okay, I want to focus on footy or American football. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So those are just some of the, I think, the mistakes, just developing at a younger age, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about off the court? What's a mistake there? What are they not doing there?
Off the court, um, man, just not doing anything that's gonna put stunt the growth of your career, because you don't know where you're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know where you're gonna go. You don't know where your career is gonna take you. You know what I mean? So a lot of the guys, like, they may do something, or they may be a certain place, or they may be with a certain person, or they may be doing a certain thing, and that certain thing takes them down a whole different fucking path from what you're trying to get to, and it's just make it so much harder for you to get there. You know what I'm saying? So just really keeping your nose clean, and just, you know what I mean, trying, just staying out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? I think that's you know what I mean? And, but like I said, that varies from environment to environment. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, no disrespect to anybody, but you can't really compare growing up in Australia, you know what I mean, to growing up in America. It's two totally different environments. You know what I'm saying? Like, two totally different environments. And being that I've lived in Australia for 4 years, I can say, like, it's two totally different environments. You know what I mean? Like, even just talking to you, like, fuck, man, like, even though I was giving you game, I always felt like you were way more mature for your age. Because how old were you when you were at
like 14, 17? Oh, no, 17.
Right. So when I first met you, when you used to train down at the secondary school in Craigieburn, how old were you?
14.
So you was 14, and then when you was playing at Whittlesea,
17.
17, right?
Yeah.
But I always thought you were so much older than 17. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I thought you were like 20, you know what I mean? Like 19, 20, 21. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't speak or carry yourself like a 17-year-old, and that's due to the environment that you grew up in. You know what I mean? Like, so you were just a lot more mature for your age. You know what I mean? But every 17-year-old is not going to be like that, depending on, you know, the environment that they grew up in. You know what I mean? So yeah, just always thinking about what you're trying to do and where you want to go with whatever your craft is, and just be like, yo, look, I can't afford to let anything fuck this up. Like, this shit is just so important to me that, nah, my man, I can't fuck with you on doing that, because that might put me in a heap of shit. And I'm trying to do this over here. So y'all can go ahead, y'all do y'all thing, but I'm gonna stay over here. Or I'm going to the gym tonight. Like, we all heard that story, especially since the late great Kobe Bryant passed away. Like, you hear that story when Iverson, they had a game or some shit like that, and Iverson was like, yo, like, I'm about to go to the club. Like, what you about to do? And Kobe's like, shit. You know what I mean? I'm about to go to the gym. You know what I mean? And that's why he's arguably the greatest fucking player to ever dribble the basketball, you know what I mean, ever since the basketball has been around that we know of. You know?
And it wasn't that
so
AI
just
didn't have the same amount of talent either.
Yeah, I mean, like, can't take nothing away from AI, you know what I'm saying? But
those are the separators.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely. But I mean, even AI, I mean, he's a you know what I mean, a GOAT in his own, you know what I'm saying? But when you talk about Kobe, it's just like you got that 1%, and then you got the top of that 1%. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, you know? So just to kind of get back to what you were saying, like, just making sure, you know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything to fuck up your path. You got a path, you made a decision, okay, I want to do this. All right, you got to do everything that you need to do to make sure you stay on that path. And anything outside of that shit is secondary. Like, it's cool, but I get to that whenever I can. But right now, I got to focus on this shit right here.
Yeah. And we touched a little bit about the weight room, but I know you're going to be passionate about this. When I first met John, I was lucky enough to meet him early on because I got that influence in the weight room early, but I got the right influence on how to do the right things in the weight room. And I fell in love with the whole kind of explosive workouts and things like that. So what should athletes actually be doing in the weight room? Because I know down here in Australia, there's not much information. It is growing on performance training, but most of them are just doing bodybuilding kind of workouts.
Right. Excuse this buzzer going off.
Nah, so good.
All right. But as far as being in the weight room, basically just grooving patterns that you're going to be using, you know, in your sport. You know what I'm saying? So like you can get really, really complex with it. But compound movements is the way to go. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you may need to do something that's not a compound movement. You know what I'm saying? That's like a regular barbell curl. That'll help you in some form of fashion. But as far as becoming like a really elite athlete and a really, really good athlete, like you got to do the compound movements, which are your bench press, your overhead press, things that recruit multiple joints and you know, just multiple sections of muscles. You know what I mean? So your squats, your deadlifts, single leg, your bench press. You know what I mean? Just everything that you need to do that's going to recruit as many muscle fibers as you can. And to go into a little bit more detail, you know what I mean, you have to break it down in different phases, you know what I mean? So sometimes you may have to work on stability and making sure everything is lined up evenly. Then you may need to add on a few pounds, you know what I mean? So your repetitions are going to be a little bit higher. And then you may need to be a little bit stronger. So your repetitions are going to be a little bit lower, but your weight is going to be a little bit larger as far as how much weight you're lifting. And then your next phase will be like, all right, well, how powerful and explosive can I turn this whole amount of body of work that I've been doing for the past 3 months and get as fast and as strong and as powerful and as explosive as possible. You know what I mean? So you have to change your rep schemes and you know, your rest periods a little bit different. You know, but just to kind of really go back onto what you were saying, like what do athletes need to do whenever they get into the weight room? More than just calf raises, more than just, you know, shoulder raises, more than just bicep curls, more than just shrugs. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different programs out there, man, that, you know, you shouldn't be lacking. You know what I mean? Like you got, like, younger cats got it so good now because you can literally go on YouTube or go wherever and find a program. Like we didn't have that back in the day, unless you really, really research for it. I remember I had a plyometric book. I'm pretty sure it was called Strength Through Science, but I don't think it's attached to the brand Strength Through Science. Strength Through Science now. I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway, I just remember having that book when I was 16, and it gave me all these plyometric drills. And we're talking about, I don't want to reveal my age, but we're talking about back in the day.
Yeah.
But one thing that it didn't emphasize was the weight room. So it was just all like body weight stuff as far as plyometrics. And it got me explosive. It got me springy, but I still wasn't very, very strong. You know what I mean? But if I'd have put the two together, man, no telling what would have happened. You know? Yeah, no telling.
And we talked a bit about what athletes should do in the gym. What about non-athletes, man? Because the stuff that you told me, like sometimes I just think about it like prehab and like just getting your joints healthy, like working on my knee strength and things like that. For people that aren't even athletes, like what's the importance of that and what can they be focusing on, even if they're not playing any sport or nothing?
Right. I think the biggest thing is at the end of the day, we're all athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're all athletes from coming out of the womb. Like we all did the same thing. We all learned how to crawl. We all learned how to walk. We all learned how to squat. You know, and you know, like that's at our infancy. You know what I mean? So now somewhere along the path, you know, a few of us got away from that. You know, but just because you don't play basketball or you don't play footy or you don't play hockey or, I mean, you're not in a competitive sport doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't train that way. You know, I think everybody should train like an athlete. Like it doesn't have to be as rigorous and as intense. You know what I'm saying? Like especially if you kind of been out of the game for a little bit, but it'll only help you in the long run. You know what I mean? It'll put a lot more longevity on your body. Definitely if you're a competitive athlete, it'll put a lot more longevity on your career, and you can make money off your body. So just because you don't dribble a ball and you don't have a 45-inch vertical doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't still train like an athlete. I think everybody should still train like an athlete. Yeah. Plus, it just like, it gives you that that stature, like, you know what I mean? It gives you that strong, fierce look, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So whenever people see you walking through the door, like, damn, you play ball? Nah, I just work out. Oh, okay. But the conversation changes once they see you, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because that's how we all are. We look, we see, like, damn, who is that? You know what I mean? But if you look a little bit different, the conversation may be a little bit different as well, too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And
So we should all,
the way you act as
right,
well, just confidence.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. So I think we all should be training like athletes, because it only adds longevity to whatever we're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing you told me as well, I remember you were driving me home and I was telling you I'm trying to gain weight. So I'm eating whatever I want because I'm young and I can eat whatever I want. And I remember you
Right.
told me, then you started telling me like treat your body like a car. If you're a Lamborghini, you got to put in
Right.
premium petrol. Can you
100%.
talk a little bit about like what you eat and how that affects performance?
Well, like, I don't want to get too deep into like nutrition because I'm not like
Yeah.
a certified
Yeah.
nutrition or anything like that. But
Yeah.
just off of my experience, you know, just making sure you're eating good nutrient dense food. Now everybody got to do their own research. Don't just listen to what a person say. Like, do your own research, because certain things work for certain people and certain things don't work for certain people. You know what I mean? So that's where you got to do your own due diligence and just find out what works for you. And just making sure whatever you put inside your body is you're getting the most out of it. You know, like if you're putting, like, prime example, which everybody knows because it's a nutritional fact. Like, if you're putting an iceberg lettuce in your body, you're not really getting any nutrients from that shit. It's like eating a fucking cardboard. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But if you're putting in spinach and kale and all of these different greens that's just nutrient packed, it's going to help you just on your day to day. But then also, if you're trying to find that edge of being an elite athlete, it'll definitely help you in that realm as well too. You know, so just making sure like you're eating the right things, they're all nutrient dense, whether you're plant-based, whether you eat meat, whether 3 times out of the week, whether you're pescatarian, no matter what it is, just do your own research and find out what's best for you. Because like I said, I know there's a lot of information out there, but you just have to do your own research on, you know, different sites or different sources, or, you know what I mean, different nutritional articles, and figure out what's best for you. You know what I mean? Just trial and error, pretty much. You know.
Yeah. And that was a big lesson I learned, man. So from that day, I kind of thought about it, and then as I got older, I realized I can't just eat whatever I want to gain weight because it will affect everything. It will affect everything in terms of performance, even like off the court, like on my laptop doing work,
Right.
just mental clarity and things like that. And
Right.
yeah, so usually at this point in the podcast, I'd talk about what one person you look up to, but on your Instagram, I always see Nipsey on there, and it made me want to learn more about him and see his impact on the people that he affected and the lessons he's taught. But did you want to talk a little bit about Nipsey's influence on you, like from business to just life, man?
Yeah, definitely. Man, long live the legend.
Yeah.
Like, as far as being like especially for me, being an African American male, you know, whenever you get people of that caliber and not just talking shit, but actually doing the shit, like, that shit hit a little bit different. And then, you know, whenever you watch they move, like, I have this one thing that I always say, like, yo, study the greats. Like, oh, you know what I mean? No matter what it is, you know what I mean? Just study the greats. Even if they're not in your field, study the greats. Because at the end of the day, they all have the same type of foundation, you know? But as far as Nipsey, man, like, you know, African American male, he was 33 when he passed away. Whenever you get someone like that looks like you, or looks like your cousin, or looks like your friend, or looks like your homeboy, you naturally gravitate towards it a little bit more, and really have an open ear for it. Like I said, especially whenever he's not just talking his shit, he's actually applying what he's talking about, and his resume speaks for itself. But you know, he was one of those dudes that took a different type of approach. You know, like, we're we're in an era where everything is just so quick, you know what I mean? Or you see stuff and it looks like it's overnight success, but little do you know, he was putting in work since the early 2010s, you know what I mean? And really didn't really reap the benefits and the fruits of his labor until, unfortunately, really his demise, you know? But we can go back and look at all the things that he was doing, and he pretty much, he left a blueprint. Like, you can just follow, like, all right, where did he start from? Damn, he started all the way from back there, especially coming from the environment that he come from. Like, shit, he beat the odds, you know? And he says it in his music all the time. So, like, just to see another black man, African-American male, someone who I'm like, damn, you know, he looked like me, like, you listen a little bit more, because the same struggles that I may go through, I'm pretty sure he's going through as well. You know what I'm saying? Just from a social standpoint, you know. So, like, he made moves as far as business, even all the way down to, you know, how he treat his woman, how he treat his lady. Shit, I come from the 90s, man. So the music was just, now that I look back and I'm like, damn, I was listening to that shit when I was 10 years old. Like, just the content of the music was crazy, you know. And to see now that I'm older, the shit is kind of changing now. And the way he delivers some of his messages, as far as, like, you know, how he doing this, and like, he got one line, he's just like let's invest in these stocks, vacate on these yachts. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't never really had nobody really giving you game like that in the 90s, talking about, like, yo, invest in stocks. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, he just led by example. Like, literally was, you know, I hear my pops talk about Malcolm X all of the time. I remember he used to always emphasize to me, like, yo, you need to read this book. It was an autobiography of Malcolm X. He used to always try to get me to read the book. And I was like, yeah. Like, I'm in my teenage years. I'm like, yeah, read no fucking book. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? But as I got older, like in my early 20s, I finally picked the shit up and I couldn't put it down, you know? And I read it once and then I read it twice. And then, you know, like, just to kind of see Nip have the Malcolm X chain, you know, you can really tell, like, he was literally like the Malcolm X of our day, you know, and for, you know, what he stood for. So, but yeah, man, long live the great man. I got a Crenshaw shirt on. Yeah, man. I had to take that. I took the trip to LA last year sometime, and I stopped by the Marathon store, and the shit was just airy, man. Like, that was my first time in California. California got a different type of energy, my G. Like, the energy, like, you could just, I don't know if it was because of his passing, but you could just feel the energy. And he passed away in March 31st or April 1st. I don't know the exact time. So March, April, May, June, July. So 3 months later, July, like, I took the trip over there, and I was just on Crenshaw and Slauson, and, like, just the energy there, man. Like, it was, I don't know, it was weird, man. Like, it was weird. So, but yeah, man. So, you know, long live the great Nipsey Hussle, man.
Yep. And talking about people leaving their legacies, man, I know in a way, in your own way, you're leaving your legacy every day, you know, inspiring kids to get in the gym, even through, I know when you get more content out on social media, that will only help leave your legacy as well.
Right.
What's coming up for you, man? What are some of your plans? What's going on with you?
Well, right now at the moment, like, so I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina, but the long-term plan is to have a pipeline from here, all the way there to Melbourne, you know, and just kind of really tapping into both of those markets, and, you know, impacting the community as much as I can from like I said, all the knowledge and the wisdom that I've acquired over the years, and still continuing to learn. Like, even when I left there, like, my biggest thing was, I was like, since I'm back home, like, I want to get around, like, some of the best coaches that I could possibly get around, and just soak up game, and kind of see, okay, you doing this, okay, cool, all right, and just using what I can, you know what I'm saying? But like definitely whenever I get back in Melbourne, like the same thing that I was doing there, but just taking it up 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 100 notches, you know, like really, really pushing basketball performance, skill enhancement. Like I said, it's a shitload of talent there. The genetic pool there is crazy, you know, so just doing what I can to do my part to push that culture forward there from a basketball perspective, but then also here where I'm from in South Carolina, you know, everybody knows John Morant and Zion Williamson. Like, there's a lot more of that in South Carolina. There's a shitload of that, but you know, some of the guys, you know, from back in the day, they take the route of going to play American football or, you know, playing baseball or something like that. But, you know, now people are finally seeing like, yo, like we have a shitload of hoopers in South Carolina, but sometimes, you know, or a shitload of hoopers and a shitload of athletes, but sometimes we don't get that exposure because we're a smaller market, or you didn't get the development because you didn't have the resources. And now things are changing thanks to the internet and thanks to, you know, these guys really carrying the torch and saying like, yeah, like I'm from South Carolina. Like, this is what we're doing down there. But we've been doing this, you know? So just to kind of go back and forth to those two different markets, I feel like, you know, like that's my purpose, man. You know, to really, really develop guys as best as they can, guys and girls, as much as they can, from South Carolina all the way to Melbourne, Australia, you know? So that's, whenever I get back, that's the main goal. And a couple of different things involving basketball as well, but we can save that for another podcast, another
for
time.
sure, man. I can't wait for you to come back, man. We're going to get in the weight room. I miss going to Darren,
100%,
at
man.
midnight.
Hopefully this corona shit clear up, man. By then, man, I don't know how long it's gonna be, man, but definitely when we get back, definitely gotta put in some more work. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure, man. And hopefully one day I can come down your end too, because my dream place to go is New York. Maybe live there for a year or two. I've always wanted to go there. Love the culture there.
Yeah. Because you were supposed to come. You were supposed to come to the States. Was that? Oh, that was just last year. But things
didn't really develop and stuff. But my dream is still to go there, man. I want to see Rucker Park in the flesh. My favorite rappers are from there as well. We got Joey Badass, Jay-Z, Nas. So
right.
I can't wait to visit. I mean, and the food looks good. I've been watching all the little food YouTube videos that New York has. New York pizza, $1 pizza. Right. So I need to come visit, man. But I appreciate you being on this podcast.
Yeah, man, definitely. Anytime, man. I know we was kind of hit and miss for the longest as far as you know, getting together and trying to get this shit squared away. But appreciate you having me on, man. Let's continue to push the culture forward, put in those hidden hours, as you would always say, and just keep it moving, man.
Appreciate everyone that's watching, and as always, I'll end it the same way. You have the power to change your situation. Everyone that I have on this podcast, I'm trying my best is to find people that started off somewhere different and definitely didn't get anything given to them, and they just worked and hidden hours and change their situation. So I hope these people inspire you, and stay tuned for more.